Assalamu alaikum everybody, and a very warm welcome back to the Arabic in 60 Steps YouTube channel. How are you guys doing today? So previously, in the past 2 days, we've done 2 other episodes of this. We did episode 1 2 days ago, then episode 2 yesterday. So this is part of our 10-day countdown to the reopening of the Arabic in 60 Steps program on the 1st of June. Pop it in your calendars if you haven't done already. So another announcement as well actually is that our much anticipated Arabic calligraphy course as well, by our Arabic calligraphy teacher Amina Sabir from Sabir Arts, that course will be available as well on our launch on the 1st of June as well. So we've got the reopening of the program and the launch of a very new program as well, which will be available for Arabic in 60 Steps students to get their hands on as well. So without further ado, there's only actually one more announcement I wanted to make, and I really wanted to thank our first ever patron as well, Reich. Please forgive me if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. But yeah, our first ever patron. So thank you so much for your support, and anybody else who'd like to come and join us on Patreon, then that'll be very, very much appreciated. You can go over there and you can get bonus resources for every single one of these episodes, and episodes on the podcast as well, where I put together vocab lists and worksheets and summary sheets and things like that, so you can get extra resources and stuff. So let's get into it. So what is this particular episode about? So today we're talking about something that is really common for students to slip up on. I especially noticed this when I mark the final exams, that students sometimes miss out on some of these. So the issue is not just remembering Kana, but also remembering Kana's sisters. So when we learn about Kana and her sisters in step 10, obviously we learn a really important rule, that the khabar of Kana is mansoob. So what does that mean? For example, let me make a little sentence for you. We'll put Kana. Let's keep it nice and simple. Kana ar-rajulu. Ar-rajulu. So the man was. And then the word that we're going to use to describe this, or what we call the khabar, needs to be mansoob. So for example, the man was clever. Let's use the term dhakiyun. So it would normally be dhakiyun, but because of kana, it's going to be dhakiyan. Kana ar-rajulu dhakiyan. So we remember that rule, right? We remember that rule. The man was clever. But kana has a number of sisters, over 10, maybe 12 or something like that. I can't remember the exact number. Actually, that's what we'll do. We'll put on Patreon a bonus resource for all of the sisters of kana with an example for each of them as well, so you can see how the meaning changes as well. So that'll be available on Patreon from today. So there are other sisters of Kana which you need to be aware of, which I'll tell you about in this video. So usually students remember that, right? Like throughout the lesson, throughout the video lesson, and when we do seminars on it live, students usually pick that idea up pretty easily, right? A feminine example, just so we can pack this lesson out with more examples. Let's do kanat. No, we don't need a fatha there. Kanat. Kanatil limra'atu. So the woman was kana limra'atu jamilatan, for example. The woman was beautiful. Kana limra'atu jamilatan. So that's a feminine example. And we've actually also demonstrated there this little thing here that we talked about in, I believe, lesson 1 of this series, about the joining of 2 sukoons. And we have that there because of the L at the beginning of al-limra'a. Very nice. كانت الامرأة جميلة. The woman was beautiful. So what are some other sisters of Kana for us to demonstrate? So we'll go over the really important ones in this lesson, and then if you want to get your hands on the bonus resource, that'll be available for patrons. I'll make it available for all patrons, so even those of you who are contributing £5 a month, you'll still get access to that as well. So let's get into it. So another one which is really important that you've got to remember is the verb sara. Sara, which means to become. Sara. So for example, if we wanted to say that the man became clever, rather than that he was clever, we treat it exactly the same. Sara ar-rajulu dhakiyan. That the man became clever. And another word with an identical meaning really is the verb asbaha. Asbaha. So asbaha means to come as well. There's a little bit of connotation to do with the morning in it because it has the same root letters as the word sabah. And some of these other verbs to do with meaning something are also associated with times of the day, like adha and amsa as well, for late morning and evening respectively. But asbaha is really common. Asbaha is far more common. I don't know if I've ever heard adha or amsa used. I must have seen it written somewhere. But either way, asbaha means to become as well, and it's pretty much used identically to how sara is used. Good. So if we were to have the man became clever, would have exactly like that, right? Exactly the same way. أصبح الرجل ذكيا. The next one is the verb ليس. ليس. Now, ليس is a really funny verb actually because it doesn't have a present tense. It is never used in the مضارع, but it is still conjugated in the past. I mean, we say ليس for he wasn't or he isn't. ليست for she isn't. لست, you are not. لستي, you are not, obviously in the feminine, and then lestu if I am not. So it is conjugated in the past tense, but but not in the present. Its meaning is something for the present tense. You know, for example, if we say ليس الرجل ذكيا, the man is not clever. The man is not clever. If we're going to say a negative in the past tense, there's better ways to do that. I mean, instead of ليس, we could use ما كان. ما كان would be absolutely fine. ما كان instead of ليس. Or, I mean, you know, if you want to use a فعل مجزوم, then you can say لم يكن. لم يكن. Yeah, or in this case, لم يكن الرجل ذكيا. Good. All of those two mean the same thing. ما كان and لم يكن mean the same thing. He was not. But when we use ليس, even though it looks like it is a فعل ماضي kind of in terms of how it's conjugated, but its meaning is present tense. The man is not clever. ليس الرجل ذكيا. But the point of this lesson that you need to remember is that ليس behaves the same way that كان does, in the sense that its خبر is منصوب. This describing word at the end is منصوب. This bit that's before it, the الرجل, we call that the ism. The ism of كان is مرفوع, or has a dhamma on the end. It's what it usually means most of the time. Really nice. So those are really important. صار, أصبح, ليس. Too often أصبح is actually an issue for students in the exam, remembering that it behaves the same way as كان. Or actually not the final exam, but when we have the exam after step 15, a quarter of the way through. Usually our students who do the final exam don't have an issue with that, but by that stage, by that late in the program, but we do see it as a little hiccup that some of the students have along the way. Very nice. So those are incredibly common. Another one is this verb ما زال. ما زال. It means still. The term actually زال means to cease something, but when you say ما زال, it has not ceased or it has not stopped. It means to continue, right? So if we say ما زال الرجل ذكيا, we're saying the man is still clever. The man is still clever. It has not ceased that he is clever. ما زال. Very nice. Okay, that is the most common way in my experience of saying that something is still the case or continues to be the case. But there's another expression I want to share with you though. Another sister of kana, because its use, it has like another use that we see in the Quran, in like really important ayat in the Quran, so we'll mention it here. The verb madama. In theory, madama means something very similar to mazala, right? It means to still be doing something, right? But it quite often carries this meaning in many ayats that we hear in the Quran of to say like so long as something, you know, like you know, from Isa alayhi salam in the Quran, where he says ما دمت حيا, ما دمت حيا. So ما دام in the past tense for ana, for I, is ما دمت, ما دمت. So where Isa alayhi salam says ما دمت حيا, ما دمت حيا. So حيا means that you're living if you are حي. ما دمت in this case it would kind of mean I continue to live, but when we use that verb, more like I don't believe, I've certainly never felt like ما زلت حيا would mean the same thing. ما زلت حيا sounds like literally I was still alive. ما زلت حيا, I was still alive, but ما دمت حيا is sort of so long as I live. In that context, I'll be good to my mother for so long as I live. ما دمت حيا. Yeah, for so long as I live. But really, I mean, you know, so if we were to say ما دام الرجل ذكيا, it would really mean that the man is still clever. Yeah. But in some other context, maybe we'll get the meaning of for so long as the man is clever. You know, for so long as the man is still intelligent, he can continue to do this, or you know, I will continue to be friends with him. ما دام الرجل ذكيا. I'll continue to be friends with him or continue to be taught by him or something. ما دام الرجل ذكيا, for so long as he is intelligent, or for so long as he is clever. So, to summarize, the important thing about this lesson is not necessarily about how Kana and her sisters work. It's to remember the sisters. That's the point. And as I say, in the actual program, in the core vocab, we maybe only go through 6 of them, but there's about 12 altogether. But as I say, like, there's 6 of them. I think it's these 6 that we cover. So Kana, Sara, Asbaha, Laysa, Ma Zala, and Ma Dama, which are very common and really important for understanding important texts as well. But there are a lot of the others. As you look through the list and as you kind of continue with your journey, very few of them are incredibly common. But it's good to know them. Ones like, ma bariha and ma infakka, and verbs like that. If you know them, it looks good. But the students who know those in the Arabic in 60 Steps final exam, those are the students who get like 95 to 100% in the exam. I've never given 100% in the exam. I would, but I just haven't yet. Like, to get a flawless exam is that's something for the students to aspire to, inshallah. But we've had many graduates, though. Many graduates. You need 80% in the actual exam to graduate. But we have many graduates. Very few, though, are in the top sort of 95 to 100%. But good. That's everything that we need, really, for this video. In our next video, we're going to go over another question, inshallah. So you guys come back tomorrow to come and join me to find out what that question is. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, and I hope you did, please don't forget to like and share it, and never forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening on the podcast as well, thank you very much for listening. Assalamu alaikum.